Uncle Tom?
Yes.
We are here with the Robert B. McGuinness and Tom McGuinness interview today. I'm so excited to be here with you. Thank you for doing this.
Okay.
Before we start, I just want to do another toast.
Okay.
We have our Guinness glasses here.
Here we go.
And I just want to say who you are as a human being and a person is just a light of joy.
Yeah.
And ever since I was a kid and a child, you always just lit everything up in our family. And I just felt called that it was just so important to capture this on camera and share your stories and some of your songs too. And you, Grandpa, Aunt Mary, Uncle Richard, all have been like, really special people in my heart. And thank you for being who you are.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a fun thing for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And nice to leave some memories for others.
Absolutely. Sláinte.
Cheers. Sláinte.
Sláinte.
Okay.
So
I love beer.
Uncle Tom, I wanted to know if you'd be okay kicking us off with a song.
3 years ago, this very day, I left the port of Cork, and on a ship from Old Erin's Isle, I landed in New York, without a friend to greet me, a stranger on the shore, but I wore an honest Irish heart, and fortune came galore. Now here I am, back again, on dear old Erin's Isle. The friends they come and greet me, and they greet me with a smile, for their faces here I never did see, for I was so long away. But my mother, she introduced us all, and this is what she say. Oh, shake hands with your Uncle Mike, me boy. Shake hands with your sister Kate. And this is a girl you used to swing down on the garden gate. Shake hands with all of the neighbors. Kiss the Collins all. You're as welcome as a flowering May to dear old Donegal.
Awesome, Uncle Tom. Thank you for that. Thank you for indulging us in that.
That's not the end, is it?
I'm sorry.
At the end I'll do the other half. No, that's enough.
Okay.
Okay. I'm glad you're doing this. It's nice to make a record for our family and friends, and hope others along the way will learn about us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we are a good and wonderful group of people.
I agree, Uncle Tom.
The McGuinness clan.
The McGuinness clan. Being a McGuinness is something I'm really proud of.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is if you go back in our history, you might know more about this than I do, but my understanding is, we were, warriors and mystics and people connected to God. And
Mm-hmm.
we have a McGuinness Castle in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
And we were a clan. And we stuck together. And I think that's something that's really important that we can take with us moving forward.
Yeah, I agree.
I know you've been to Ireland how many times at this point?
About 5.
About 5. And I'm curious, like from your experiences going there, what has been maybe some of the more profound experiences or wisdom that you've taken away, or what has maybe touched you about going to Ireland?
That money doesn't mean a lot to us Irish people. An example. The first 3 people we visited and exchanged money for a couple of restaurants and a couple of B&Bs. Mm-hmm. They accepted our American dollars, even though it was less than the price of they were asking for.
Wow.
So to me, that said something, that money isn't everything, and don't kill yourself trying to make it. That came along at another time when Uncle Leo's died, and we were invited to come down and pick something out to remember him.
Yeah.
And my dad picked a sweater of his, and the man that was running it didn't know Dad very well, and he said, "Oh, you can't have that. you can only pick from this other pile. And Dad got really emotional and angry and started walking away. And I said, Dad, I know a lawyer that could probably guarantee you could get that sweater that you want. Mm-hmm. He said, Tommy, forget it. If I get the sweater, I'll buy Mom an ice cream cone. And if I don't get the sweater, I'll buy Mom an ice cream cone.
Aww.
To me, that was a big lesson.
Yeah.
I don't need a lot of money to be happy.
That's beautiful. And yeah, from that kind of story, it sounds like it really touched you about what was really meaningful in life, what was more important.
Yeah. Than money.
Things.
Yeah, than making a lot of money. Yeah. Even though we lived a comfortable life and had enough money to do things that made us comfortable.
Yeah.
But we didn't have to be the richest guy in the block.
Yeah. And Uncle Tom, from that perspective, can you share with us a little bit about maybe your earlier childhood? Maybe we can start. I think that's a great place to start and kind of go from there. Like, I know the McGuinness family, great-grandpa Dick McGuinness. You guys were in North Caldwell.
Yes.
To start.
Yeah.
And if you can maybe start there and just share with us what you maybe remember and you know, what that was like for you, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, I may start even before that on when we lived on West End Avenue in Newark. I was about 2 or 3, and I spilt the milk, and Dad gave me a terrible beating. When I told my brothers this later, Rich Bob, your father, he said, "Oh, you should hear our stories about Dad," which implied that he probably spanked them too. And so that queered our relationship, I think, for quite a while, to be close to someone that beat you up when you were helpless. I spilt milk. On the other hand, Dad had a history that, would have maybe justified that somewhat. He grew up in a family that was pretty well off because his father was the warden of the Essex County Jail in Newark. Mm-hmm. And that was a political plum job that he got for getting people to vote Democratic.
Yeah.
Also, after that period came the Depression.
Yeah. And
in the Depression, he could only get a job working in taverns or debt collecting. Mm. And he had 1 year of college, wow, which at that time was a big feather in your hat. Mm-hmm. He attended Manhattan College in New York for 1 year. Then the Depression came along, and he had to work very hard to keep our family together. Wow. So I can cry when I tell you this, but and it doesn't justify that kind of behavior to your children, but I can understand why he felt the way he felt when I spilt the milk at age 3. After that, he tried different things together that I think were trying to help him be a good father and a friend to me. We did a lot together. We caught ball in the driveway. He taught me how to drive a bike and how to drive a car. He helped me, encouraged me to get pigeons when other neighbor boys were getting pigeons, homing pigeons. Yeah. And he also encouraged me to raise chickens during World War II, when the government encouraged us to grow things and raise meat for the effort, because there was rationing during that period, yeah, and people were short of food. Yeah. So he encouraged me to do those things and to be a newspaper boy and make some money. So you have some money when you want it. And so I was a newspaper boy for about 5 years, and finally bought the route from the young man that had hired me, and and there was a lesson in this that he started me with $25 a week to deliver about 25, 30 newspapers every day.
Wow.
And then I bought the route from him for like $12, and with approval from my parents. And then I started making like $6 a week. And that was my first lesson in corporate greed. And he was a friend of my brother's. He was a friend of Bob's.
Oh,
your parent. He was a nice guy, and I became his newspaper, and then I bought the route. So I read. So that was that.
Wow.
So I was sort of an entrepreneur after that, doing different things to make money, and more so than Bob or Richard. I think Richard was like the star of the family scholastically. Bob was the regular type of guy that played football and basketball.
Yeah.
Richard played track, and they both got scholarships to high school.
Thanks for sharing, Uncle Tom. First, I just want to share, I'm just really touched about how you felt about your father and his story, and the story of the spilled milk. I think that I can feel the depth and the connection that you still have for him, and that you still have beautiful memories even after that. That's really special.
Mm-hmm.
And your first entrepreneurial lesson of you were doing $25 a week, you said, and then you bought the route for $12, and then you were going down to $6 a week. And I can definitely relate to having some entrepreneurial lessons, and that's kind of how we grow, right? You got to go through some of the failures and mishaps before you learn.
Yeah. So I think the money was after I bought the route for $12, I started making $3 a week or something like that.
Yeah.
With delivering about 30 newspapers a day.
Yeah. And just out of curiosity, were there any like unique or interesting things you learned from great-grandpa Dick McGuinness and great-grandma Mary McGuinness around just like what it was like to be a McGuinness? Were there lessons that they shared? Is there any specific lessons that you remembered that were taught from their childhood being passed down to you at all?
Well, Dad was pretty much a wonderful father after that, and helped me with the garden, Victory Garden, and the pigeons and stuff. And Mom was the heart of the family.
Yeah.
And Dad was he was practical.
Yeah.
We have to do this. Study. Got to get good marks, and that wasn't extreme, but he was the practical person, and helped me along with, as I said, making money, cutting lawns, and things like that. So he was a good father after that, but that was one bad experience.
Sure.
And he took me to the Holy Name Society once their beer bust. My mom encouraged him to take me along. And I did. And one of the guys down the street who we knew, and he was a musician aside from having a regular job, he played piano. And so he started playing piano at the Holy Name annual beer party.
Wow.
And he started playing a rowdy song.
Okay.
You may want to delete. And it went, roll me over, and do it again. And on the way home, he asked me, Tommy, did you understand the song? Something like that. And I said, yes. That was the end of my sex ed. Never spoken. Never spoke again about sex.
Oh, all right, all right.
Did you understand?
Can we drink to that one?
Yes. Yeah.
There we go.
I don't think Bob or Richard ever got anything along that line. But we were religious, as you know.
Yep.
Going to church every Sunday. I actually became scrupulous.
Yeah.
Going to confession on Saturday afternoons and telling the priest that last week I forgot to tell you this. And finally he said, Tommy, you knew my name? It's supposed to be secret. He said, Tommy, don't confess any sins unless you can put your hands on the tabernacle and swear that you committed a mortal sin.
Oh, wow.
And because I was iffy-washy in my brain at that time, I never had any mortal sins. I mean, I was confessing consent to sensual pleasure. I mean, don't we all have that? But I had that pleasure 3 times.
Oh my God!
So that was the extreme religious, and I didn't feel comfortable talking to my parents about that subject.
I'm sure. From that kind of point on, living with the family, how did you know the maybe route you wanted to go with your life from there? Like, how did you decide? I know you spent time in the military, and then after that, I think you were in sales. And, I think there was a story you shared with me that you went to your guidance counselor once, and he asked you, I think, what do you want to do? And he goes, I'm thinking about either becoming a priest or joining the military. And you were like, the guidance counselor was like, well, those are 2 really opposite things.
He said, something's very crazy. Something's very crazy here.
Yeah.
I didn't have much of a mind of my own. With 2 big brothers and a sister who was like the queen of the, not intentionally, but a special person.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I followed Bob into the Marine Corps.
Yep.
He did it, I can do it. But before that, I followed Richard into the minor seminary at Seton Hall.
Uh-huh.
He was trying to persuade me that I maybe had a vocation, and the war was on at that time.
Yeah.
And if you're not and the seminarians they were all moved up to Darlington, the major seminary, so they wouldn't be on the street, being eyed at street people that weren't loyal.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he persuaded me to go to Seton Hall the freshman year. I didn't really want to.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go to St. Peter's. And after 1 year, I switched to St. Peter's, and I liked that school a lot.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I guess, do something different than my brother Richard. Trying to figure out whether you have a vocation to the priesthood.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how do I know Rich? And he was trying to be good. I have a vocation. Well, you like to do good? I said, yeah, all my friends like to do good. So it took me a while to get out of the idea of thinking about being a priest.
Okay. Gotcha.
But the fact that Richard became a priest, a Monsignor, and one of the top priests in the diocese, the archdiocese, and Bob taught at Catholic schools, and we all went to Catholic high schools and colleges, And we did, we all went to Catholic schools.
And was it from there where you went right into the military after
Yes,
high school
at the
or
end,
college?
yeah. So I went to Seton Hall Divinity School for first year.
Yep.
And he also mentioned there's a war on, you could be drafted and stuff. After a year, I went back, I went to St. Peter's, and I liked that a lot. Well, I was following Bob. He did very well at St. Peter's with the Glee Club, and he was actually an officer of the National School College group, whatever that was called.
Yeah.
He was very active there in academic and non-academic things like that. He was a star there,
Yeah.
and people knew him like that. And Richard was a star at Seton Hall as a student. They both got scholarships for their high schools, and maybe for their colleges. Richard may have been given a scholarship because he was a divinity school student.
Yeah.
So he went up to Darlington, and Bob went to St. Peter's. Okay, why? So at the end of my 4 years at St. Peter's, the draft was on.
That's right.
And you either had to join one of the services or you were drafted.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just followed my brother,
Yeah.
Bob. He was wound up in Lejeune.
Yep, Camp Lejeune.
He went into the platoon leaders program, the officer program, as I did when I joined.
Yep.
Half of his class got killed
Yeah.
the first month in Korea, got slaughtered, and half of his class died.
Wow.
And I think that affected his mood
Yeah.
for the rest of his life. It was.
Was it like a guilt or a survivor's guilt or something to that effect?
Something like that, yes, that he survived.
Yeah.
And I could cry when I say this,
Wow.
but it was, I think, affected him for the rest of his life. He wasn't as cheerful and as a normal guy would be throughout the rest of his life. He did the best he could, had a great family, and did good work and taught in school.
Yeah.
But I just thought over the years it affected him.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I know it was after you came back, you had went into your first sales job. Is that correct?
I had the GI Bill staring me in the face.
Yep.
And I graduated St. Peter's, but I had the GI Bill. I could go to graduate school.
That's right.
And I said, while I was in Japan, I spent my tour mostly in 2 years in Japan and Korea.
Yeah.
After the war.
Okay.
And I applied at Columbia University to go there and study economics.
Yeah.
And I got accepted, and I did all the coursework, never wrote the paper, and then I went down to the newspaper downtown and got a job writing newspaper stories. The reason I took economics was a Jesuit priest in Tokyo who I got friendly with, and he was an economist.
Yeah.
He said the world needs good economists.
That's right.
Okay, a priest said it. I got the GI Bill staring me in the face. So I lived at home and commuted every day for like a year and a half, did all the coursework for the MA, MS, and never got the degree because I was getting low on money.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to make some money and support myself, living at home. And
just to backtrack a little bit, Uncle Tom, real quick. When you were in Japan and Korea for 2 years, was that all that time were you stationed there the whole time, or were you also not on duty? Were you able to explore any parts of that?
No, I got together with another. I was with the 1st Marine Air Wing. Excuse me. I wasn't a pilot. I was a ground officer. platoon leaders course, which is a basic training, and then some specialized training out for air wing duties. So I was afraid to go for the infantry because when I was a Boy Scout, I got all kinds of wheezing in the camp when I camped out.
Yeah.
So
I didn't like the Boy Scouts either.
So I didn't want to be in front of 20 Marines and be wheezing.
Yeah, I got you.
And so I put in for the wing, air wing, and the guys lived better. They had nice officer quarters, and I had 3 interesting jobs there. They gave me a supply job first, and I didn't like that, so I wound up being a I&E officer and a provost I&E officer in information, and starting high school equivalency tests. 40% of the enlisted guys did not finish high school.
Yeah.
So the major wanted to do that, and he asked me to do that. And so I did that, and I was assistant provost marshal for a while, and with 90 troops under me, and my claim to fame though over there is I climbed Mount Fuji twice.
That's right. You told me this. You climbed Mount Fuji twice.
I only made it to the top, and I brought 25 Marines each time.
Wow.
And second time it was raining, we didn't make it to the top.
Gotcha.
Halfway maybe. The other thing I did for the Marines, I brought 500 Marines up to Tokyo to see the Radio City type show.
Nice. Called
the Tokyo Getchigo, and I borrowed 20 buses from the Army, which was about half-hour away. I borrowed them and got 500 Marines to go up to Tokyo for the first time. Wow. So I was promoting things like that, and it was fun. That's awesome. It was a wonderful tour.
And so you came back.
I came back. I had the GI Bill facing me, and I decided to stay in the Marine Reserve, and that was once a month, I think, out at Floyd Bennett Airfield, and we did training. We trained some enlisted people, and basically like that.
And out of curiosity, what was your first job? So the first job was writing. Was it the writing for the paper?
Yeah.
Okay. And then was that...
I was a good writer. I won a couple prizes in high school and college for writing.
And was there like a particular piece that you wrote that you remember that was special to you at all?
I wrote a feature story about the first nuclear ship.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was my big story.
It's a pretty big story.
Yeah. The first nuclear ship, which went around the world, stopping in ports. Turned out the people didn't want the nuclear ship.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
They were afraid.
Yeah.
Nuclear.
Yeah, it's nuclear.
You want to park it?
They want you to park.
You want to park it in our ship, our harbor?
Oh man.
That finally died out.
And so right around this time, is this right around where you met Anna Moore?
Yes.
Yeah.
I met Moore when I was working for the newspaper, and I only worked for them a couple of years.
So I think you told me she was on an exchange program?
Exchange visitors visa.
Yeah.
And she spent a year out in a famous hospital in Maryland or someplace.
Yeah.
And then she took a job at Women's Hospital, 90th Street, and maybe not Broadway, but near Broadway, right across from the World Trade Center. It was either called that or something.
Downtown New York City.
Yeah, around 90th Street.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm at the newspaper, and bored one afternoon and asked the boss if I could. And I liked having been overseas.
Yeah.
I liked everything different.
Sure.
Like overseas, I went to Korea. I was at Japan. I was we went to, on Liberty we would go to some other, not Philippines, but some other, couple other countries.
Yeah.
So, I just loved meeting people who were different than me in countries that are different than me.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
And so I would ask the World Trade Center was having a trade show, and it was people from other countries bringing their products here to sell and show and da-da-da. And so I went up there, and I told the boss, I said, I could write a story about the show.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, go ahead, Tom, have a good time, and don't worry about a story or something like that. So I went up there, and I get off the subway, across the street from the World Trade Show, the Coliseum. It's the New York Coliseum.
New York Coliseum.
And I get off the bus or the subway right there, and who do I see but this beautiful Philippine woman looking out the door of the trade show. So I get over there, and she's very attractive, and I introduced myself, and she said what she was doing. She was helping a Philippine friend who came over from the Philippines to sell her products, and the products were
jewelry, you said?
The shell jewelry and Capiz lanterns.
Oh wow, and the lanterns.
Yeah, and when I saw the stuff, I said, "This is beautiful stuff," and my nieces would like these. These bracelets, shell bracelets. I'm going to buy a couple for them and give it to them.
Oh.
She said, "Oh, take a couple and put it in your pocket and don't tell the boys."
She said, "Put it in your pocket, take them, don't tell anyone."
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Anyway, I did it, and then I said to myself, "Whoever I marry will have to love these lanterns." They had these lanterns.
And it ended up being her.
Yeah. I mean, I think I had her in my heart already.
Yeah.
3 years without a girlfriend. Never had a girlfriend, really.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I meet this gorgeous woman we have some common friends at the Catholic Student Association. We both knew some people.
Yeah.
And we both got into those students groups, Catholic group.
And
for sure.
Question for you: would you say it was love at first sight?
Yeah.
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 What did that feel like for you?
Oh, it was wonderful. I never really had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I mean, you go to boys' schools, or even like Seton Hall, St. Peter's, or they were men's schools. So, and you could meet them if you joined the choir. And Bob did. They went to different girls' schools and met girls and danced and all. But I didn't. Well, he lived in Nutley. I lived in Caldwell. And we had I got back and forth with other guys who we had what do you call it? We shared our cars and took turns going. So.
You had told me that Anna Moore really liked that your brother was a priest.
Yes.
And I think you said something like she told one of her family members, "Oh, his brother's a priest," or that was really special for her, meaningful for her.
Yes, they were very Catholic.
Yeah.
They were very religious and Catholic.
Yeah. You guys obviously had 3 beautiful children, right? So
yeah.
Rich, Mary Louise, and
yeah.
Moore. And I'd love to know from you, like, what are maybe some just fond memories you have of your family and growing up in Boonton, New Jersey. And I know this town is really special to you. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, I love the town. It's wonderful. And we started in Caldwell, Amor and I, as I recall, and moved had children, I think, while in Caldwell. And we moved to Boonton.
Yep.
And then Boonton Township, it's part of. So we just loved the property, and we...
Yeah. I'm also talking about your obviously you and Amor's family and your kids. As a family, do you guys have any particular trips or memories that you remember that you're fond of?
Well, Ireland about 5 times.
Yeah.
Married Amor and me.
Yeah.
And Mary Louise. And I think the other 2 children too. And having cousins over there.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet them?
Which cousins?
Well, the ones on
Amor's side.
No, in Ireland, I mean.
Oh yes, So I remember the Ireland trip.
Yeah.
I was, I think, 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit younger, and I remember we rented the bus. And we did the whole loop around Ireland.
Yes,
and we did the wedding. And it was Anne Marie's wedding.
Yes, your whole family came.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That was a great trip.
Yeah.
I know you have a motto that you live by. I think this is really important to get in the interview.
Yeah.
What's the motto that you live by?
Be kind and follow your bliss.
Be kind and follow your bliss. Beautiful.
I have my religion down to that.
Yeah. And where did that come from for you? And how did you come up with that? Where did that start for you?
Well, it just seemed to come natural, like it worked.
Yeah.
Follow your bliss. Follow what you like to do, and so I think when you do that, you do well, and you can help people, and follow your bliss and be kind. It just came to the words, just automatically.
I feel like those words describe you. Like you're just someone who's just full of light and love, and everywhere you go, you bring a smile. So I think that's just really indicative of who you are. You said you have it down to like a religion. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, you attend a Unitarian church.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like what kind of led you to the Unitarian church, and what about that spoke to you?
I've been going there for 30 some years.
Yeah.
Regularly, still go.
Yeah.
I get rides usually from people. I don't drive now much, or at all. Yeah. So our fellowship, we call it a fellowship. And we honor all religions. Asian,
Buddhism.
Buddhism. We got Protestant, Catholic,
Judaism.
Islam. Yeah. We do. We do everything. we do them all. We don't miss it. And you can believe what you want to believe, and
that's beautiful.
And you can start a service if you want to do a service. She'll let you do it. So it's
and out of curiosity, in your life, do you have like maybe a couple of moments where you remember maybe experiencing God or feeling the presence of God? Or let me rephrase my question. My first part of my question is, do you remember maybe your earlier moments of your life, or maybe one of your first moments where you experienced the presence of God?
Well, First Communion, you're almost brainwashed. You're receiving God.
Yep.
You're receiving Jesus in the host.
Yep.
I was getting headaches at this church when I would receive communion because I didn't believe Jesus was in the host. So it was. I was getting headaches.
Yeah.
And then my wonderful wife said, "If you're getting headaches when you go to communion, why are you going to communion?"
Yeah.
So I stopped going, and then I said, well, that's the central part of the Mass, and I'm not participating in it.
Yeah.
And so there.
And that kind of led you to the Unitarian
Yes, yeah.
Church? Gotcha.
I was open to other spiritual paths.
Gotcha. It's beautiful.
Mm.
And we have a few more questions here. We're about to wrap up.
Okay. Can I have another glass?
Yes, let's do it. You're doing great, by the way, Tom.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this.
I do have notes if you want to.
Yeah.
The beer tastes great.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Yeah.
Did you know, by the way, that the Guinness factory, and I believe this number could be off, but I believe they signed something like a 600-year lease on their factory, or 6,000, something like a really crazy number.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah,
I heard about that. Yeah, I believe it's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's they believe in their product.
Yeah.
Guinness.
Yeah.
Part of doing this interview was, I know you have so much wisdom, and I wanted to know what you would love for the future generations of McGuinnesses to take with them from the elder generations of McGuinnesses. And I'd love to know from you, what would be something that would be really important to you that you'd love to see passed on to future generations of McGuinnesses?
Well, money isn't everything, but it's good to have, and you can do good things with it for your family and the world. Much more good feeling to follow your bliss and
to
be kind, and to experience the world as best you can.
Thanks for sharing that, Tom.
You're welcome.
We're about to wrap up here. Before we do, I'd love to wrap up with maybe, are you up for one or two more songs to wrap us up with?
Yeah.
What are you feeling next?
Did I sing the Irish one?
You did. I know you always like to sing Danny Boy.
Yeah. Oh, Danny, we can all sing.
Yeah.
Oh, Danny Boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen, from glen to glen, and down the mountainside. The summer's gone, and all the roses are dying. It's you, must go and I must buy. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, and when something is flush and white with snow, with flowers. And I'll be there in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. That is a great song. Another song I like to sing is 3 years ago, this very day, I left the port of Cork, and on a ship from Old Erin's Isle, I landed in New York, without a friend to greet me, a stranger on the shore. But I wore an honest Irish heart, and fortune came galore. Now here I am, back again, on dear Old Erin's Isle. The friends, they come and greet me, and they greet me with a smile. For the faces here I never did see, for I was so long away. But my mother, she introduced us all, and this is what she said. Oh, shake hands with her Uncle Mike, me boy. Shake hands with your sister Kate. And this is the girl you used to swing down on the garden gate. Shake hands with all of the neighbors. Kiss the colleens all. You're as welcome as a flower in May to dear old Donegal. Wait. So they gave a party when I came back, and they came from near and far. And the road was lined for near a mile with Irish joining cars, and the whiskey flowed like buttermilk to fill our hearts with joy, and the piper played an Irish tune to greet the Yankee boy. Oh, shake hands with your Uncle Mike, me boy. Shake hands with your sister Kate. And this is the girl you used to swing down on the garden gate. Shake hands with all of the neighbors. Kiss the colleens all. You're as welcome as a flower in May to dear old Donegal. And the movie, one Irish movie guy said, and Pat O'Brien was late. I never forgot that.
Well,
Okay, enjoy.
cheers, Uncle Tom. Thank you for this amazing interview and your wisdom and just everything you shared. It's beautiful to hear the story and capture this on camera. And
Great.
thank you for being who you are. And cheers to all the McGuinnesses around the world.
Right, yes. Good, thank you. Loved it.